Good morning, everybody. Today is Sunday, the 26th of January. So I thought I better pop on here and do a bit of a monthly update. January hasn't gone quite as planned, and yeah, I haven't got as much done as what I was hoping to, but yeah, that's life. That's what happens. So, yeah, just looking at my whips and what I was, planning to work on this month. I have added a new cast on, and have started and finished one thing since I spoke to you last time. So how about we start with that? You might remember I said that I was joining a monthly sort of a mystery sock club where we got yarn and a pattern every month to knit a pair of socks. And I'm not a sock knitter. I have knitted some socks in the past, and I enjoy wearing hand knitted socks, but I just find them really fiddly. And this pair of socks, I loved the colour, I love the pattern. I suppose I enjoyed knitting them. I had a bit of trouble. So for all those sock knitters out there, I know there's going to be people that say use magic loop, use DPN. But yeah, I don't know. Casting on, I think I found casting on, these are worked cuff down. Casting on I found easiest to do with DPNs. And then once I got on the DPNs, I nearly straight away switched over to magic loop. And then at some stage, I may have gone back to DPNs again. In the meantime, I ordered some 9-inch circulars, and I did do some of the knitting on the 9-inch circulars, which I found really difficult. But I've heard that with 9-inch circs, and it's just a matter of practicing. So these socks have had magic loop, 9-inch circulars, DPNs on both the socks, but I finally got them done. So I'll show you the socks. These are the Alma socks by Sana and Co. I think her name is Susanna. They're not blocked. I'm not going to bother blocking the sock. If you know Sana and Co. and their patterns, you may have heard of the Alma. I think there's an Alma vest and there's an Alma cardigan. So this is the same motif in the sock. I've left one off the blocker to show you like the front. So I do have 2 finished socks. Yeah, it starts with the corrugated rib. I think there was an option to do a plain rib, but I quite like a corrugated rib. This section was knit on a larger needle, which I've never done that for colour work before, but I think it's really beneficial with socks because I have a high instep as well. So doing that on a larger needle just made it sort of a lot easier to get on. And then it's got a little bit of colour work around the toe. Yeah, so I was really happy that I got those finished in time. I'm not having high hopes to finishing a pair of socks every month, but I'll see what I can do. But in the meantime, I had seen on Instagram, someone had a reel where they were steeking the Alma cardigan, which I don't know whether I realised it was steeked or not. And after knitting these socks and having a look at the Alma cardigan and some of the colourways that people have done it in, I think that might be something that I will get to later this year because I really would like to try steeking. The only thing with the Alma cardigan is it's knit bottom up and then steeked. So you knit the body up to the armholes, knit the sleeves, attach the sleeves, and then knit the yoke, which is not my favourite construction, but I'll give it a go and get to try the steeking. The only thing with the Alma cardigan is there are some really beautiful kits, Louie and Lola. Oh, before I go any further, this is from Bombed Yarns, which is in Tasmania, an Australian designer. So beautiful, gorgeous yarn. I would definitely knit with this yarn again. The Alma cardigan has kits put out through Louie and Lola, who is another Tasmanian dyer. Kits are absolutely beautiful. The yarn is a merino possum yarn, which would be just gorgeous to knit with and lovely and warm. But the kits were quite expensive. I am trying to knit as much from stash this year, not because I don't want to buy yarn, I just don't have the space. So I was so close to ordering a kit, but I noticed the kits aren't going to be available until mid-February, and then they'll be dyed to order. So that'll take us into March. So I was looking to see if I had anything in stash, which I do, but I'm not sure if I want to use that or not. But I've got plenty of whips to go on with in the meantime. But the Alma cardigan is on my radar after knitting these Alma socks. So this pattern was exclusive to the club, but only for a month, I think. So from about the 14th of February, this pattern will be available on Ravelry and I guess on Susanna's website, Sanna & Co, for purchase. And yeah, recommend it. Love the socks, and I'm sort of excited now to see what the next month's sock club brings. So that was cast on and finished since I spoke to you last time. Looking at my whips that I was hoping to work on, one of them was the trove. I did do a little bit of work on the trove. This was the one where I was using up my leftovers from my advent calendar, so I have started with that. I think I said I was just going to do 1 row stripes of the colours, but I am doing what the pattern says, so because I think that does look a bit better. So I'm just working down the back. Still got a bit of a way to go yet before the back is done, but I'm happy with that, and it's usually quite an enjoyable knit. It's just something I haven't had time to work on. I've had a couple of commissions this month, which I'm still working on, so I've got to spend sort of business hours working on those. But that's my trove. That's where I've got to with that. The other one that I was working on was the ironwork tee, which was for the trove was for the Flame and Fibre. I think it's called the Joyous Cal or Joyous Mal. The ironwork tee is for Kristen's of Skein Yarns. I think it's called, I'm not sure, maybe just Tea Cal or something. So I'm working on the ironwork tee, which is in Skein, and the yarn I'm using is the Merino Silk Sport. Skein of Australia. She's actually located not too far from me down the coast, a couple of hours. The Merino Sport. So this is my contrast. It has silk in it, but it is very slippery. And my main colour, I think, is Tempest, which is a really dark, looks black, but it's a very dark blue. And there's a lot of depth of colour to this. Like every now and again I can see, I don't know whether it'll show up on the camera, but there's green sort of showing through there. I've got a little bit more done on this, but not too much. I've got the first pattern repeat done. I think there's 3 pattern repeats. So that's where that is. I'm not sure about the gauge, whether it's a bit loose, but I'm hoping it'll all work out fine. I didn't want anything that was real tight. I wanted it flowy. So it's a bit hard to show because the circular needle is a lot smaller. But that's where I'm up to on the ironwork tee. My Alpenglow blanket, I haven't done any more on that. It's sitting there, but until I get some of these other things done, I'm just not going to be making any progress on that. I did take some hair in my mouth. I did take some weaving off my rigid heddle loom yesterday. This is one that I did. It's 100% cotton, and I dyed it with the Bengala, the Japanese mud dyes, and just made a table runner. It's quite long. I'm thinking it maybe for my table. It might be one I keep and not put in the shop. I'm not sure yet, but it needs to be wet finished. But that's what it's looking like at the moment. So it's a lovely organic cotton, and then it's dyed with the mud dyes. So it's just, yeah, lovely natural table runner. So I'll get that wet finished, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's wet finished. It should sort of soften up even more and fill in a little bit. So that one could be for me, or it may end up in my Made It store. So I'll put links down below for where you can get in touch with me. I don't think I've even done an introduction yet. I'm Christine, I'm from Australia, and I'm known as Yarn About Yarn pretty much everywhere on the internet. Ravelry, Etsy, Instagram. I have a store on Etsy where I sell some of my knitting patterns for people that don't like to use Ravelry, and I think some are available on Lovecrafts. And I have a store on madeit.com.au where I sell some of my weaving, and I do need to add some more of my weaving to that website. So if you see something on my Instagram that you're interested in and it's not on my Made It store, just shoot me a DM. Yeah. So, new cast on. This is a crochet cast on, and I saw Kate from Source of Fibre doing the Very Hungry Caterpillar. And I'm not a big crocheter, but I sort of thought, oh, well, I'll give it a go. And the pattern is really good. It's quite easy to understand, and she does have some videos linking to some of the techniques. The pattern is available. The designer is on Ravelry. Her name is Castle of Cozy, Cozy with a Z. But this pattern is not on Ravelry, so I got it through Etsy. So anyone that knows the story of the Hungry Caterpillar, it's basically a caterpillar, and he's hungry, and every day he eats something new until he gets full, and then he'll turn into a butterfly. So at the moment I'm working on the caterpillar body. I'm nearly up to the head, so it's more fun when you see the head and the antennas and the eye, and it's got a big open mouth, and then you make all the pieces of food that then, as you're telling the story, will feed into the caterpillar. So that's it so far. It's just turning out. I just really love it. So looking forward to, I think I've got this section and another section, this colour to go, and then I can start the head. I'm hoping to get this done by Easter, which this worked up fairly quickly, but I know what other things I've got to work on in the meantime. And I'm thinking all the little food, like there is so much food to make, and I don't know how I'll go working on all that. So yeah, so I'm using the Source of Fibre yarn in their Dirty DK. This is from an Australian website. It's 100% acrylic, which for kids' toys I think is absolutely fine. It's a really unusual yarn. It's quite soft. And when I had a look at it, I don't know whether you're going to be able to see it, but I sort of pulled it apart to see, because it's sort of like, I don't know whether you can see that it's almost like a chenille sort of finish. It's quite, yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but I pulled it apart, and there are 5 separate plies, but each ply is 2 plies, so it's actually like 10 ply, but it's almost like it's over plied, like it's really tight, so it gives a really unusual sort of finish, which is probably not showing on the camera, but I think that's what adds to the squishiness of it. So I'm just using basically the same colours that Kate, who is the owner of Saucer Fibre, was showing on her Instagram reels. It's a fairly tight tension, and I'm using a 3.5mm hook. And the Dirty DK is, DK, 8 ply weight. So that's my very hungry caterpillar. So I've had whips at it. I've had yarn at it because I had to order in the yarn for that. The sock yarn came in, and I don't think there's any other yarn coming. The sock yarn will come every month until I cancel that subscription. I have ordered some more of the Dirty DK for doing the food, so that will come in. But other than that, I haven't ordered any other yarn to add to my stash. The only yarn that's come in is those two, and they're sort of being used straight away. So I'm happy about that because I have nowhere to put it. The other thing is I belong to a virtual knitwear designer group, and we've only had a couple of meetings, but my reason for joining the group was to learn from other people. This is an Australian designers group, to learn from some fellow Aussies, and also to get motivated to start working on my own designs. Like, I'm working on the commission work, and I have contacted that company to see if I could share any of that, and the answer is no. Like, it's their intellectual property, and I understand that, and that's what I thought. So I can't share any of those things that I'm working on or the process behind them. But I really would like to get some more of my own designs out. So joining this group hopefully will keep me motivated to do that. And we meet monthly via Zoom, and we sort of commit to doing something, to doing our homework for the month. And they're all ladies at the moment. Some of the girls have sort of committed to, putting a pattern out for testing, or actually having a pattern put up onto Ravelry, and they've done it. We have a WhatsApp group, and they've put in that group that they've done that. And so it's sort of motivating me to sort of be doing some more things. So I have actually swatched. This is a design that I've had in mind for a long time. And I actually submitted to a magazine a couple of years ago with it's a colourwork pattern with the same colourwork design, but in a different sort of garment. And it wasn't accepted by the magazine. And I always thought if it wasn't accepted, I would self-publish it. But there was just something that I just couldn't move forward with it. And every couple of months I'd, get the swatch off the wall and have a look at it. And there was just something that wasn't right. And the original swatch was done in 2 fingering weights held together. Oh no, a fingering and a mohair. I'll see if I had still got the original swatch. Was fingering and a mohair. So that was the original swatch. And I was still thinking about going with the fingering and mohair option when I reworked it, and reworking it in different colours. But when I priced it out, it was going to be like $300. And my idea is to knit from stash. But saying that, I also want it to be available, the yarn to be available, because some people like to use the yarn the designer uses, or like to see it knit up in samples. So I don't know whether it was the cost. Yeah, it was the cost that was really putting me off. And it's a lot to have to get 2, 4. There was 5 different yarns in this. So I changed it using some stash yarn, and I knit the same swatch. And it's amazing. When I hold this other swatch up, you'll see it's really hard to believe that they're the same design, and it's amazing. So it just shows you what yarn can do for a design. So this one is just knit into DK weight wools. And it's quite, I wasn't sure if it was perhaps too stiff. But I've changed the design, the garment. This was going to be a vest. This is going to be an actual jumper, a sweater, drop shoulder sweater. So, and this is made from a stash yarn. It's not a yarn that I see a lot, so I'm sort of hesitant to use it as well. But it's prickly. And I'll be knitting this for myself. So I'm not that sensitive to wools, but this is prickly and I'm not sure I'd really want to wear that. So I looked in my stash to see what else I've got, and I've got some Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury in the 8-ply in Stone and Shadow. So I'm going to re-swatch in these, which are much softer, and I'm thinking they'll be a little bit drapier than this one. I'm considering going up half a needle size, but I'll just see. So swatching again. It'll be interesting to see how it looks using, because this is fairly low contrast. Even though it's showing up quite well on the camera, I was a bit concerned about the contrast as well, because it's not that high a contrast, which you can see back here. But it's subtle, which is fine. But when you're publishing a design, you know, you want it to stand out in photographs and that, which I think this might be better. And this is so readily available in Australia. It's a lot softer, so I'm hoping it'll be drapier. So keep an eye out for that next month, see where I get to on that design. But I'll sort of keep you updated on that as much as I can. Yeah, so I think that's about it, which is making for a short episode, but that's the way it is. Yeah, so couple of one FO, some new cast-ons, design in the making, and that's about it. So for next month, I'm just planning on getting as much of that caterpillar done as I can. Hopefully the caterpillar will be finished and I'll have some of the foods ready to show you. I'll have the swatch finished and hopefully some more of an idea of where that design's going. My next mystery sock club box should have arrived, and we'll see whether I've knitted another pair of socks or not. And in the meantime, hopefully I can find some time to work on the ironwork tee, because that cal finishes at the end of February, and I'm not enjoying that pattern. I don't know what it is. I just can't get into a rhythm with it. So I'm thinking if I don't finish by the deadline of the cal, it's just going to be a lingering whip. So I'd really like to get that one off the needles. Trove I love knitting on, but there's no hurry to get that done because we're in summer and it's quite hot at the moment. So I do have a couple of summery whips that once I finish the ironwork tee, I might pull out another one of those and see if I can get another summery knit finish before winter does come along. But I think that's about it. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a better start to 2025 than what I have had. And yeah, I'll chat to you next month. Bye.